So let us study the parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric. We'll compare two cases. One is a parallel plate capacitor without a dielectric, and the second one is a parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric. Assuming that this is one plate having positive charge and this plate is grounded, and if this plate is grounded, then this is having the negative charge only, because the positive side, this was actually grounded, was neutralized by the electrons from the ground. Now have a look at both the plates. Isn't that this is exactly identical to the case when we studied the parallel plates, one positive charge density and the second one is a negative charge density, and we used to calculate the electric field between the two, and the electric field formula that we used to derive for the parallel plate which are unlikely charged was E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. This was the expression for the electric field. Now since we have to define the capacitance of this capacitor, the formula says that okay, the capacitance of this capacitor is C is equal to Q by V. What is this Q here, children? First of all, is this Q the charge on both the plates? Isn't that charge on both the plates, the net charge is 0, plus Q and minus Q? So there is no point defining the capacitance. Actually what we are doing is we are giving charge to one plate only. Let me call this plate A. We are giving charge to this one plate only, and due to this charge plus Q on the plate A, negative Q charge is induced here on this second plate. So when we are defining the capacitance is C is equal to Q by V, so this Q is the charge on the plate A. So let us redefine the terms here. Q and this V, can we write down this V as from the previous knowledge? V is equal to E into D. The distance between the plates is say D, and the formula that we obtained last time was E is equal to minus dV by dr. dV is the potential difference between A and the second plate B. dV is the potential difference between the two plates. dr is the distance between the two plates, which is D here. So I say that okay, E is equal to, just keeping the magnitude thing in mind, so we are dropping the minus sign from there, so is equal to E is equal to V by D. From here we can write down that okay, V is equal to ED. This is what we have substituted here. So C is equal to Q divided by ED, and the electric field derivation, the formula is sigma by epsilon naught. Let us put this formula here and let us see what we are getting. Q divided by sigma D, and this is epsilon naught. What is this sigma, children? This is the charge density, which area charge density. So when we put the value here, what we will get? We will get here okay, that okay, C is equal to Q epsilon naught, and this sigma can be replaced by a charge per unit area. Area will go in the numerator, and this is D. Charge will cancel out, and what we are left with, C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. This is the formula of the capacitance for the parallel plate, this special case. If you remember, for the spherical capacitor, the formula that we obtained was for the spherical conductor. The formula that we obtained was C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught R, and for the parallel plate capacitor, the formula that we have just obtained is C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. In the formula, charge is not there. In this formula, potential too is not there. So that is a clear indication that capacitance of this parallel plate capacitor is independent of the charge Q that is given to the plate A. It depends on area of the plate, it depends upon the distance between the plates, and it depends on the material that is there in between the plates. And since the medium here is air, therefore I am writing it to be epsilon naught A by D. Now let us take another example. A parallel plate capacitor, and we are taking this charge plus Q and this charge of course minus Q, and this is grounded, and the electric field of course is from positive to negative. And what we have done here is we have introduced a dielectric medium. What is a dielectric medium? Dielectric medium is an insulating medium. Medium, we don't have a free charge, all the charges are bound charges in the insulator. So what will happen when we introduce this dielectric here? The formula changes accordingly. Assuming the thickness of the dielectric is same as the distance between the two plates, then the formula can be written as C is equal to. Now instead of epsilon naught, it has to be permittivity of the medium. Which medium are we talking of? Dielectric medium, the insulating medium. So it is epsilon m, and this is A by D. This way the formula changes. When it was there, the formula we obtained is epsilon naught A by D. Same ways, in case the dielectric medium is there, I can rewrite this formula as epsilon m A by D, permittivity of the medium. And if I just compare the two formulas, divide the two formulas, what will I get? I will get epsilon m divided by epsilon naught, and this term in the numerator is epsilon naught into epsilon r divided by epsilon naught. It cancels out, and what we are left with? The ratio of the capacitance of the parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric in and the dielectric out, Cm by Co, comes out to be simply epsilon r, comes out to be simply epsilon r. So the formula here is epsilon r. This epsilon r is written as capital K, and this K is defined as the dielectric constant. This K is defined as the dielectric constant of the medium, the intervening medium, the medium that we have inserted in between the plates. So this is your dielectric constant. So we can define dielectric constant easily, that okay, dielectric constant is the ratio of the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric in and to the dielectric out. So ratio of the capacitance with the dielectric in to the capacitance with dielectric out, that is what we call the dielectric constant. And just have a look at this. All the insulating medium, they have the value of the K more than 1. And if we just compare the value of the dielectric constant of the different mediums, we observe that okay, air is having the value 1, which is minimum. And then for the other medium, the value of the K keeps rising. For water, the value is 81. That means if this parallel plate capacitor is given to me and I dip that in the medium, say it is water, then the capacitance of the medium, of the capacitance of this parallel plate capacitor with the medium in will rise to 81 times the initial capacitance. So this was the case, special case, wherein the dielectric medium that we have introduced is having the thickness same as the distance between the parallel plate. What if we have introduced a dielectric medium which is having the thickness a little less than the dielectric plate distance between the plates? Let us do that case now. Now a case wherein you are given the parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric medium inserted in between the plates of the capacitor, and assuming the thickness of the dielectric slab that we have introduced here is T. It is different from the distance between the two plates which we took D in the previous case. Now the result will be a little different. Let us take this plate A and this plate B, and this is say grounded, same configuration, plus Q charge over this plate and the minus Q charge over this plate. So there will be the initial electric field. What is the direction of initial electric field? The direction of the initial electric field is from positive plate to negative plate, and it is uniform. And we call this electric field as say E naught. This is the original electric field in the absence of dielectric. Dielectric, since is an insulating medium, all the charges are bound charges. In the presence of this external electric field, the charges are going to realign themselves. How? Positive charge, whatsoever the positive charge is there, that will move in the direction of electric field, this side. The charge will come here. And the negative charge will move in the direction opposite to the electric field, here. The negative charge will come here. So from this diagram it is very much clear, the electric field is induced, since the charge is induced there in the dielectric, and electric field too is induced in the dielectric, and the direction of the induced electric field is from positive to negative. I call this electric field as E induced. So what is this induced electric field? Isn't that this is the electric field due to this medium which is having the dielectric constant K? And what was the formula for the initial electric field? E original. The electric field that we proved before is sigma by epsilon naught. This is the original electric field, and we have to find out the expression for the induced electric field. What will be induced electric field? Since we are talking of a medium here, isn't it that electric field here will be same with a small difference? Instead of epsilon naught, you have to write down epsilon m. So what this term can be written as? This term can be written as sigma, and epsilon m here is epsilon naught and an epsilon r. So what this induced electric field becomes? Induced electric field is this term divided by epsilon r. What is sigma by epsilon naught? E naught. This is E naught. And what is this epsilon r? This is the dielectric constant K. Dielectric constant K. That means when we introduce a dielectric or an insulating medium there in between the plates which is having the dielectric constant K, then this dielectric, the electric field, original electric field is reduced by the factor K. So one more way to define the dielectric constant. So let us now derive an expression for the capacitance, keeping in mind this formula and this formula. So if I am aware of this formula here, what is the potential? Potential can be written as E into D. E into D. So it is sigma by epsilon naught into D. D is the distance between the plate with air medium only. Dielectric medium thickness we have to subtract. So in case the total thickness was D here and this was your T. So what is the remaining thickness here? This and this. This will be D minus T. So it will be D minus T. Same ways here, from this formula I can say that okay, this was the original potential, this is the induced potential due to the dielectric medium inserted. So it can be written as E naught by K into thickness. What is the thickness of the dielectric slab? It is T. So I am left with two expressions here. For one is this one, V naught is equal to sigma by epsilon naught into d by t, which is for this region air is filled in, and second one is the potential due to the dielectric medium, which is E naught by K into T. Now we can use the formula easily there in the formula of the capacitance. So the capacitance of the parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric medium in can be written as C is equal to Q by V. And what is this here? Q, that remains same, Q only. Let us write the expression for V. V is the total potential, which is the sum of V naught and. So let us derive the expression for the capacitance. C is Q by V. What is this V here, children? V is the sum of V naught and V in. Let us put the values and see what the final result we are getting here. Q divided by sigma by epsilon naught d minus t plus what is V induced. This is E naught by K into T. Of course, we can further modify it saying that okay, V induced is equal to, let us put the value of the E naught here, which is sigma by epsilon naught, and this is K into T. This formula we are going to use here. So this is your sigma by epsilon naught K in the denominator and T. Let us rearrange all the terms and what we will get. Sigma by epsilon naught inside the bracket, this term is left. You can do one more thing to simplify it further. You can put the value of sigma here, which is charge per unit area, and you can take this T common out here to simplify it further. So let us see what the final expression comes out to be after putting the value of Q is equal to sigma into A and taking this T common out. So that is the final formula for the capacitance. Have a look at this formula. This is epsilon naught A by D and rest of the factor. If you remember the capacitance that we obtained in the case of parallel plate capacitor with air medium only, that was simply epsilon naught A by D. That means by introducing a dielectric of certain thickness T, this is the additional factor in the denominator. Otherwise, dimensionally also you can remember this formula. The formula is epsilon naught A by D. So in the denominator it should be only the dimension of length that is present. That will give you the final formula, and we can do the special cases here, derive the same results. So assuming the special case 1, assuming there is no dielectric slab introduced, and if there is no dielectric slab introduced, that means this T factor is 0. That means no dielectric that we are introducing here. So C comes out to be epsilon naught A by D. Isn't the same formula that we obtained in the very first case with the parallel plate capacitor with air in between? Second case also. What is the second case? Second case is when your T is equal to D. It was a expression that we did just before. T is equal to D means that you are given a dielectric slab which is actually fixed in between the plates of the capacitor, and the expression then comes out to be epsilon naught A, and if T is equal to D, here this cancel out and we are left with this factor only. So it is K times. This is the formula that we are left with, and this thing that I have just circled is K C naught. That means the capacitance will rise by the factor K when we introduce a dielectric in between. I think that is it about the capacitors. The parallel plate capacitor we are done with, and we have to now do the combination of capacitors. So let us come to the combination of capacitors very quickly. This is exactly identical to the combination of resistors that you did in your 10th standard. assuming that you are given a parallel plate capacitor here and one here, and you are given a battery here. You are given one more combination. Let us first learn to identify the series and the parallel combination. What is the meaning of that? Simplest circuit diagram. Two capacitors, parallel plate capacitor only we will study now onward. That only is in our syllabus. So we are given C1 and C2. We call this combination as the series combination. Why? Identification is, in the series combination, just one plate of this capacitor and one plate of this capacitors are connected. For example, this is plate number 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 2 and 3 are connected. So I will say that okay, series combination. If both the plates are connected, for example, look at this one, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Isn't it clear that 1 is connected to 3 and 2 is connected to 4? So I say that okay, this is a parallel combination. Series combination, just one plate is connected to the plate of another capacitor, and in the parallel combination both the plates of one capacitor are connected to the two plates of another capacitor. So parallel combination and series combination. What else before we actually start deriving the formula for the net capacitance? The formula here is C is equal to Q by V. So out of Q and V, one vector must be constant in the series combination. So it is the charge that is same. Series combination, current is constant that you studied in your 10th standard, and current is what? Charge by time. So if current is constant, charge should also be same. So we'll say that okay, in the series combination, charge if through this C1 is Q, charge through this C2 is also Q. So in series combination, charge is same. What about the potential? Whatever the potential is offered by this battery V, for example, this potential will be divided amongst these two capacitors. Value is the same. If the capacitor's value is same, then the potential of course will be same, divided equally. And if the values of the capacitor are different, then obviously the potential being different. So here the potential which is offered by the battery will be same as V1 plus will be equal to V1 plus V2. Let us see what is the case here. Since this capacitor C1 is parallel to C2 and they are parallel to this battery which are offering a potential V, isn't that in the parallel combination the potential remains same? So what is the potential here? V. What is the potential here? V. And this battery is offering a charge. Say it is offering a charge Q. So what is happening? That the charge will be divided at this nodal point. Some charge will go to the capacitor C2 so as to make the potential V, and the remaining charge will go to the capacitor C so as to make the potential V. So I'll say that okay, charge that is going across the capacitor is Q1, across the C1 is Q1, and the charge across C2 is Q2. So the charge which is offered by this terminal at this nodal point, it is going to divide. A part of the charge will go to the capacitor C2 and charge it, and the remaining part, say Q1, will go to the capacitor C1 and charge it. Charging will take place until the potential of this capacitor C1 becomes V, which is actually equal to V. Here too, charged Q2 value is such that, or the charging takes place such that the potential across this becomes same as the potential offered by the battery. So here the basic equation that I am going to start is Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. You have to put in the values here using this simple formula. V is equal to Q by C. When we put the values, we will simply get the result directly from here only. So it is V is equal to V1 is Q Since the charge is same, so it is Q by C1 and it is Q by C2. And isn't that potential is the potential across the effective capacitance? So it can be written as Q by C. So I'll get a final formula, 1 by C is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. This is the combination of capacitors when we are putting them in series. Same ways we can perform here, like the value of the Q will be C into V. So what this formula comes out to be, C net capacitance, V potential offered by the battery is equal to what is Q1? Q1 is your C1 into V. C1 into V, and this is C2 into V. V cancels out, and the final result that I will get here is C is equal to C1 plus C2. Let us do one question here. You are given one capacitor, taking it to be a spherical conductor only, because any conductor behaves like a capacitor. Any conductor has a capacitor to store some charge. Let me call this capacitor A1, or let it be A. You are given a second capacitor B, and the initial configuration for A and B are, configuration means that I am talking the charge, voltage and capacitance. So assuming that capacitance is C1, initial charge here is Q1, and the potential initial is V1. For this, let us take the parameters as C2, Q2 and V2. These are the initial parameters. So if I connect both the spheres, both the conductors with a wire, what will happen? The charge will flow from higher potential to lower potential, assuming that here V1 is more than V2. This is my assumption. If potential here is more than the potential at the sphere 2, then obviously the charge will flow from A to B. Out of the initial charge Q1, some charge, say Q, small q, will take an exit from A and will flow to the sphere B, and until when the charge will keep flowing, until the potential becomes same. So let us see what is the final configuration after both the potential of both the spheres become same. Capacitance of course is not going to change. That will remain C1 here and C2 here. What will happen to the charge? Will that change? Yes, from the charge Q1, small q has taken an exit. So the charge here will be Q minus Q. What about the potential here? Say it is achieving a common potential VC, VCOMC, common potential. What about the second sphere? The capacitance remains same. Charge, it has gained a small amount of charge from the sphere A, so the total charge becomes Q plus small q. What about the potential? It will acquire a common potential. The potential of A and B should remain same. So I'll say that okay, the potential remains same. So initial parameters given to you, we have assumed that the potential of A is more than that of potential of B, and this becomes a final configuration. What is my task? What I am supposed to find out? How much charge has flown from sphere A to the sphere B, so that the potential becomes same, and the potential that is finally acquired by both the spheres, how much is that potential? That means this is what my next target is. And the third thing is we have to find out the loss of energy. When will the loss of energy takes place? When the charge flows from one body to another body to acquire a common potential. Then the loss of energy takes place, and how much of the energy is lost in this process, that I need to find out. Can we start saying that okay, after the charge has flown to the point B, both the spheres have acquired a common potential, and using the formula C is equal to Q by V, I can say that okay, this is Q by C. What is this Q here? Q is the final charge which is retained by A. Q is the final charge which is acquired by B. So if I am talking of sphere A, I will write down that okay, this is Q1 minus this small charge Q that has taken an exit from this, and C is the capacitance, which anyways will not change. Why? The capacitance will not change because the capacitance depends only on the permittivity of the medium and the radius of the sphere. It does not depend upon the charge, nor it depends upon the potential. So this is equation number 1. Same ways I can write down for the sphere 2. This is for the sphere 1 and this is for the sphere 2. So VCM is equal to Q by C. Let me write here C1 and this is C2. So this charge is the final charge. So it is Q2 plus small q divided by C2. And is it that the potential should be same? Left hand side should be same, the right hand side should also be same. So let us equate the right hand side of the equation 1 and 2. So what we will get here is Q1 minus Q divided by C1 is equal to Q2 plus small q divided by C2. I need to solve this equation to get the value of small q, and when I solve this equation, the value of small q comes out to be q is equal to C1 C2, C1 plus C2 and Q1 by C1 minus Q2 by C2. You can derive the derivation expression on your own. This Q1 by C1 is your V1 and this is your V2. So charge that has actually gone from the sphere A to the sphere B is C1 C2 by C1 plus C2 into V1 minus V2. Same ways, if I put the charge here, what is this expression? This actually is the common potential. This is the common potential here. So if I put the value of this small q here in any of the equation 1 or 2, I will be able to get the common potential, and the common potential value comes out to be C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. So energy loss, you have to find out the initial energy, which is total initial energy, and the total initial energy is half C1 V1 square plus half C2 V2 square. This is the total initial energy, and the final energy is half net capacitance. What is the net capacitance of the system? C1 plus C2, and V square. V is what? Common potential, the square of the common potential that we have just obtained here. This value will find that okay, when we subtract the two, E initial minus E final, I will get a positive value here. Should be positive. That means the energy loss has taken place. That means the initial energy was more than the final energy. But why should the energy loss take place? Just have a look at this diagram very quickly. This was sphere A and this was sphere B connected through a wire, and when the charge is actually flowing through this wire, isn't that there is some current in the wire that is actually flowing for some time t, and whenever the current is flowing through the wire for a certain time t, heating effects are produced. That means whatever the initial energy of the system was there, that will be equal to the final energy plus some heat which is lost. Therefore, we are saying that okay, the initial energy should be more than the final energy, and the difference is that energy which is lost in the form of heat in the wire. I think that is it. We are done with the capacitors now. Let us take a few numericals very quickly on the capacitors. Just look at this question. Let us do this conceptual question. What is given in the question is that you are given 6 plates, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and this wire which is placed between the plate 1 and the plate 4 is actually short circuiting this point and this point. We can say that point 1, that is the plate 1, is actually connected to the plate 4 and 5 both, because the potential at this point is same as the potential at this point. Short circuit. The potential at this point is same as the potential at this point. Same ways, potential at this particular point should be same as the potential at this particular point. So we have to identify the capacitor plate and rearrange them accordingly, according to the circuit given to us. So let us try it. We'll start with the plate number 1. I am given this plate number 1 here. Let me put the name side by side. Plate number 1. This plate number 1 is the terminal A. So I am putting this terminal A here. This plate number 1 is also connected to plate number 4. So I have taken another plate here, which is plate number 4. This plate number 4 is connected to plate number 5. I have taken another plate here, which is plate number 5. So 3 plates I am done with, and all the 3 plates are connected to each other. So this is the connection here and this is the connection here. But one in isolation is not forming a parallel plate capacitor. So what is the plate? Which is the plate which is forming a capacitor with 1? With plate 1, this is the second plate which is forming a capacitor. Okay, we are done with this. 2 is connected to 3 and 2 is connected to 6 also through this wire. So I am having a plate number 3 here, which is forming a capacitor with plate number 4. So rightly place plate number 3, and 2 is also connected to plate number 6 also. Another plate, plate number 6. 6 is forming a capacitor with the plate number 5. So again rightly placed. So all these plates are connected, and this plate 6 or the plate 2, they are connected to the terminal B here. Now I think the circuit is visible, can be seen as very simplified, that all the 3 capacitors, they are connected in which mode, series or parallel? Of course they are in parallel configuration.